part y'all looking back to these precepts. And yet another cold cut course on and glory to Yahweh. By Shema Shuk, Wam like y'all shout out Dr. Righteous. Get nobody could park upon you. Lots of quiet by the word. Where does that want to say that was the other house of David that's been laboring. Doing in the true patiently waiting for the second of our Lord my Shuk. Wam like Yahweh Shai. Right, had to the Dr. Righteous. Right, and doing in his truth 20, 30, 40 plus years. Give a sound exhortation, right? Sound counsel, building up the tabernacles of David and building up the young men, right? Through the precepts, through the wisdom, through the knowledge, and through the understanding of the Most High God, right? God, of course, are showing what it truly means to be a pillar and to be a consistency of endurance through the Spirit. God, all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, right? For the mighty elders that do serve, as well as giving a strong shalom, right? Why Yahweh Shem Yahshua Thumb to all the mighty Akim on the highways, byways, hedges, laboring, pushing, shoot to the four corners of the earth in sincerity, right? Magnifying the gospel, magnifying the name of the Most High God through the Spirit, right? Making your body a living sacrifice, raising up your households decently in order and in the law, statutes, commandments, right? And doing all the elements, tumults, rain, spirits, demons, right? And doing all you can, right, for the hopeful look's sake, right? Bidding all the Akim, right, a mighty beautiful shalom, and to all the young men building yourselves up to go on the highways and byways, young and old, right, bid you a shalom, right, Khan. As well as giving a hearty shalom, right, why Yahweh Shemata to all the Akwak and his truth, married, unmarried, right, honoring and representing the husbands, raising the children decently and in order and in the laws and commandments, right, as well as doing all the righteous works of our foremothers, right, the mighty Proverbs 31 women, right, Sirach the 26th chapter, right, Titus the 2nd chapter, right, cooking, cleaning, so on submissive, right, and doing all things, right, for the hope of the elect's sake, right, bid you a hearty shalom, right, as well as giving us hearty and strong shalom, right, why Yahbashim Yashah Shamar, Wa Barakatham, to all in the mighty volume, the mighty children in Israel, right, honoring their mother and their fathers, keeping the law, statutes, commandments, being built up in the knowledge and wisdom of the Most High God, right to all Israel, I bid you a strong shalom through the Spirit, right, Khan, right, so through the Spirit, right, we're going to jump straight into it, right, going to jump straight into it, right, being a winter soldier, right, the morning meditation is being a winter soldier, right, understanding that a lot of men tend to fall away, from the truth during the winter time, right, physically, things are dead, right, things are dying down, right, the trees, the leaves, right, the grass, nothing's growing, huh? Right, and how much more in the spirit, right, doing the spiritual winter, man, right, men's leaves begin to fade, right, those spirits and things begin to hack off and, to destroy your branches, man, right, you was once getting nurtured, getting watered, getting planted all summer, all spring, man, coming out, taking notes, right, being diligent, steadfast, okay, you on fire. But then as it begins to get cold, man, hey, that's the time when the real men are made, man. Right? That's the time when the true servants of the Lord, right, now being made manifest, man. Right? It's easy to labor and to do things in a convenient time and a convenient season, man. Right? But when it's cold, right, when it's freezing, right, when you don't feel like going out, right, when pains and adversity starts to kick in, man. Hey, that's who you see, right? Who are the true the true soldiers, man? All right, let's go to the book of Proverbs. All right, let's go to the book of Proverbs, the classic, chapter 20, and verse number 4. If it's a sluggard would not plow by reason of the cold, therefore he shall beg and harvest, having nothing, huh? Right, so the sluggard, the slothful, right, he's not going to plow by reason of the cold. And now is the time where you have a lot of men, they don't go out as much as they used to, man. As some men say, a lot of these quote unquote new camps, right, they pop up during the summer, but then they fade away. Right, certain men are around for a small point or small portion or for a small season, man. Right? Because when that adversity, when that fight, right, when these things start to kick in, man, right, a either men, either you're gonna stand bold and plow through, man, right, or you're gonna fold and crumble and die. Right? And a lot of people, right, they catch hypothermia, man. How much more catching it spiritually, man? Right? Where you stop working, you stop moving, right, and you just perish. I'm gonna read that again. It reads, "The sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold." Right? Meaning that there's always 1,000 excuses. Certain men say, well, we shouldn't be out as long, right? Or, we should go out for 20 minutes, right? First it starts with going out for an hour, right? Then it cuts back to 30 minutes, right? Then it just cuts back to, well, we're just only going to do live streams during the winter, right? Then you don't no longer see them in a year, 2 years, man. They just vanish, all right? And even on a carnal level, right? They tell you that, like, during a time of cold, man, or winter, you have to keep moving, man. You have to keep moving to keep yourself warm, right? To keep generating heat, man. Once you stop plowing, once you stop moving, right? Once you start working, man, where you're evidently on the way up out of it, right? Reach the slug would not plow by reason of the cold. Therefore, he shall beg and harvest and have nothing, man. And the Lord, he's coming back to give every man according to his works, man. Right? The Lord tells you that in the book of Matthew, the 20th chapter. Right? Let me get that real fast. Let's go to the book of St. Matthew. All right. Right, because the Lord also has a harvest of the earth in Matthew the 13th chapter. But every man is charged to work into this vineyard, man. And you're working to reap a reward. So if you aren't working it, if you aren't plowing, or how could you be able to receive anything when the Lord comes back, man? And which is why a lot of men are going to get destroyed. All right, let's go into the book of St. Matthew, chapter 20. And I'm going to get straight to the point. Right, I'm going to start at verse 12. It reads, "And when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house, saying, These last have wrought but 1 hour, and thou hast made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden of the heat of the day. But he answered one of them, and said, Friend, I do thee no wrong. Didst not thou agree with me for a penny? Take that is thine, and go thy way. I will give unto this last as unto thee. It is it is not lawful for me to do what I will with my own. Is thine eye evil because I am good? Right? So the last shall be first, and the first last. For many are called, but few are chosen, man. Right? So many are called into this truth, man. Right? Many are called to labor, to plow, right? But only a few are chosen, man. Right? And you labor for that penny. You labor for that said reward, man. You know, as the Lord said in the book of Saint Luke, the 19th chapter, man. You have some men that have 1 pound, some men that have 5 pounds, some men that have 10 pounds, man. Even in the military, the armed forces, you have different men that have different billets, different men that have different responsibilities, right? Different men that take on more burdens and more tasks, more, more than others, man. And you may be blessed or praised, right, as a unit, right? Although you have certain men that move meritoriously, man, right, that may stand out above the rest, man. Right, the Lord is going to give every man, right, a portion, man, according to, right, their works. Let's go to the book of Judith, right, chapter 15. Right, come. It's the book of Judith, chapter 15, and verse, Slocky, and verse number 2, right? And it reads, and fear and trembling fell upon them, so that there was no man that durst abide in the sight of his neighbor. But rushing out altogether, they fled into every way of the plain and of the hill country. Right? They also had encamped, Slocky had camped in the mountains round about Bethulia, fled away. Then the children of Israel, every one that was a warrior among them, rushed out upon them. Huh? Right? So the Lord, man, he said that the warriors, man, that they rush out. And a warrior doesn't flee. A warrior doesn't pick and choose, right? When he goes to battle, man. Right? He doesn't so called just take damn years off and months off, man. Right? You're always in student mode, right? You're always training, right? You're always keeping yourself sharp, right? You're putting yourself right in the best condition to be able to endure all things, man. Right? But Slocky, right? But let's touch on this real fast, man. Right? Because again, it goes back into the topic, man. Right? Because before this was a so-called a movie, man. Right? This was a so-called term, right, during the Vietnam War, right? And which you can actually go into it, on your own time, right? But to be brief and get straight to the point, right? Right. So the Winter Soldiers, right, was a coined term during the Vietnam War, describing those who fought hard when things got tough, praising soldiers who stayed to fight during harsh winter conditions like Valley Forge, man. Right? And Esau has these things on the left hand side, man. Right? Men that suffer trench foot, man. Right? That they'll go through gangrene, Agent Orange, right? Go through mustard gas, man. Hey, Esau and these nations, they'll endure things in harsh conditions, right? Hypothermia, understand? Endure all these things on the left hand side for flags, for money, for gold, for vain things, man. Okay, right, for just folly and madness, man. But how much more the men of the Lord, man? How much more those inside there's truth? And a lot of men, you went hard for things that's watching it is called, man. Slocky, that's watching this video. You went hard for things in the world, man. You went hard for damn trapping, man. Selling drugs, man. You went hard for them being a so-called, trying to be a so-called supervisor, right? Manager, right? You went hard for them. How many damn sneakers and J's you can get, man? Standing outside, right? With the pink ticket, man. Right, 24 hours. Just camping until right the so-called until the so-called store opens, man. Right, so-called camping out for Black Fridays. Trying to get a so-called a TV deal, man. Right, see, men, they'll go hard and endure harsh things, right, for carnal sakes, right, for vanity, right, for lies and folly, man. Right, but how many of those, man, are going to endure, right, the harshness, man, right, the tough elements, right, the tough times, battle, and overcome spirits, man, right, for the name of the Lord, man. right? It says it described those, right, who fought hard when things got tough, praising soldiers who stayed to fight during harsh winter conditions, man. Right? Let's go back to that, man, real fast. Right? It's the book of Sluck. Judith, chapter 15 and verse 3. It was they also that had camped in the mountains round about Bethulah fled away. Then the children of Israel, every one that was a warrior among them, rushed out upon them. Right then sent Ozias to Beth Tasmithim and to Babiah and Chobiah and Kola, and to all the coast of Israel, such as should tell the things that were done, and that all should rush forth upon their enemies to destroy them. Now, when the children of Israel heard it, they all fell upon them with one consent. Right? Amen. And what that all the people came up on one consent. Right? So it can't just be one man. Can't just be just one brother that's just doing all the videos. It can't just be one brother that's just doing all the edification, all the teaching, all the alms, all the charity, man. That's just doing all the work, man. It said that they all came of one consent, man. Right? Because you're only strongest as what? Your weakest link, man. All right? And as the Lord gave the charge in Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter, right? Paraphrasing greatly. Hey, if you have any fear, or actually no, let's just go to it, man. Right? Because you don't need any men that's double-minded, double-hearted, fearful, or have any vain thoughts, or just anything that's going to hinder the army, man, or hinder the battle, right? Because this is spiritual. Understand? Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. All right. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 20, and verse number 8. Straight to the point. It reads, "And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, What man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's heart faint, as well as his heart. And it shall be when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people, that they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people." Right? Right, and as those that are teachers, right, those that are, you know, if you're a deacon, if you're a priest that's over your respective school or church, man, hey, you're set and have a charge to lead the people, man. Right? Even if you go out, man, right, on the highways and byways, man, the Lord has charged you and given you a spirit, man, to lead the flock, right, to lead the lost sheep that are scattered, right, back into the fold, man, to lead them unto the words of life, man, right, to lead them from the darkness, right, the wicked paths that they once were on, man, right, back onto the right hand side, man, and to guide their households into keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments, man. Right? I mean, every soul is set up to be a leader on certain levels and certain factions, man. Right? Man doesn't need a thousand titles, man. Right? Flat on proceeding to the book of Job, right? The 32nd chapter and the 22nd verse, man. Right? Man doesn't always need to have something that's, well, we're going to directly set you up, man. Hey, no, man. I mean, brothers have the spirit upon them, right, in order to take the initiative, right, to lead, man, and to God. And the Lord said that if there's any faint-hearted, man, right, or any fearful, man, then let them to be removed, man, right, lest you corrupt your brethren, man. So you got to be strong, man, and strong will within His truth as well. Let's go to the book of 2 Maccabees. Let's go to the book of 2 Maccabees. Second Maccabees, chapter 8, and Second Maccabees, and I'm gonna start at verse. All right, see, where do I start at? Start at verse. We can start at verse number 6, and reads, or start at verse 5. Now when Maccabeus had his company about him, he could not be withstood by the heathen, for the wrath of the Lord was turned into mercy. Therefore he came at unawares and burnt up towns and cities, and got into his hands the most commodious places, and overcame and put to flight no small number of his enemies. But especially took he advantage of the night for such privy attempts, and so much that the bruit of his manliness was spread everywhere, man. All right. Right, so it through the spread, it through Judas Maccabeus, man. He was valiant, man. All right. It said what? Through the brute of his manliness, man. Right, through having his trust, his faith, his confidence in the Most High God, man. Right, not fearful. Right, not letting any spirit, man. Right, any so-called weather or element to sway him, man. Right, or to dislodge his thoughts, man. And he continued and trusted in the Most High, man, and charged forward, and was over to overcome and to destroy and overthrow the heathen thereof, man. All right, reading on. It reads, so when Philip saw that this man increased by little and little, and that things prospered with him still more and more, he wrote unto Ptolemy, the governor of Cilicia and Phenice, to yield more aid to the king's affairs. Then forthwith choosing Nicanor, the son of Patroclus, one of his special friends, he sent him no fewer than 20,000 of all nations under him to root out the whole generation of the Jews. And with him, he joined also Georgius, a captain, who, in the matters of war, had great experience. All right? Right, so even the heathen, they move in great matters of war, man. Right, they take with them men that have an understanding, man. Right, men that know how to handle themselves, right, how to navigate, man. Right, that so-called that have the ability to boost the morale of the troops thereof, man. All right, men that are accustomed, man, to war and to battle. You know, these men have scars. These men have memories, man. Even when you deal with these different nations and these different kings, right? The Greeks had different legions, man. Right? You had certain specific armies, man, that went out to handle tough battles, right? Tough wars, man. Right? It's like even the Persians, man. Right? The Persians had their so-called elite, right? Of the elite men, man. Right? They called them the immortals, man. Right? The so-called immortals. Right? You know, when it seems as though the first or the second army can't get it done, right? They'll sit in the immortals, right? They feel no pain, right? They're able to take down and conquer, right, any group of men that they come across, man. And you consult with certain men in matters of war, right? You know, as the Lord said that in the book of Sirach, the 37th chapter, man. Right, let me get that real fast. All right, Sirach 37, and I believe we want to start at verse 11. It reads, neither consult with a woman touching her of whom she is jealous, neither consult with a coward in matters of war, man. Hey, and this is it's spiritual warfare, man. Right? If you're too afraid, if you're too slothful, if you're too lazy, man, to go out, man, right, you have no business, being in war. I mean, straight up, man. Right? If you're gonna let your flesh to supersede you, man, right? Or if you're just looking for something that's just vanity, man, or something that's just to do, right, during the summertime or when it's warm out, man, you have no business being at war. Right? Your mind ain't right, man. Right? It's not about you just saying, all right, how many scoffers, can you is going to come to camp, right? Or treating the truth like it's just a entertainment, right? BET, man. This is war. This is battle, man. This is counsel. Let's go to the book of Second Maccabees. Right, let's go to the book of Second Maccabees. Right, chapter 4 and verse number 20. I'll say at verse number 22. It reads, where he was honorably received of Jason and of the city. Right, and these are wicked men, man. Right, these are wicked men. Right, Jason, right, the wicked high priest, Menelaus, right, men who saw just preeminence, man, and sought to overthrow, right, people, selling out. Understand? It reads, where he was honorably received of Jason and of the city, and was brought in with torchlight and with great shoutings, and so afterwards went with his host unto Thinis. 3 years afterward, Jason met Menelaus, the aforesaid Simon's brother, to bear the money unto the king, and to put him in mind of necessary matters. But he brought to the presence of the king, when he had magnified him for glorious appearance of his power, got the priesthood to himself, offering more than Jason by 300 talents of silver, man. Right? Right, but through the Spirit, man, the Lord said that to bear the money unto the king and to put him in mind of certain necessary matters, man. Hey, it's necessary to go out, man. Right? It's necessary to bring our people out of the ditches, man. Right? To deliver them, right, from being slain, man. Right? Because you have wolves, you have foxes, you have creeping beasts, man. Right? That come out during the cold, man. That come out at night, right, to slay you, man. And Israel is personified as a sheep. And we are the lost sheep, man. So if you're not going out, man, if you're not being a good soldier, doing the work and doing, man, right, saving your people, man, you know, right, as you let Christianity, man, you let these men that are coming out with new and strange doctrines, right, sway and destroy the mind of people, man. Right, you're letting things of this world to further and seduce our people, and not have that just bounce of righteousness and truth, man. Right, hey, that blood is going to be upon your own head, man. Right, for just willingly just letting people be destroyed. Right, I mean, carelessly, man, just standing by idle, man. Right, while you let the blood of your neighbor, right, just be trampled upon, man. All right, let's go to the book, Second Samuel. All right, let's go to the book of Second Samuel. Actually, slacking. Well, I'm in Chronicles. All right, so let's go to the book of First Chronicles, chapter 20, and verse number 1. It reads, and it came to pass that after the year was expired, at that time that kings go out to battle, Joab led forth the power of the army, and wasted the country of the children of Ammon, and came and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried at Jerusalem, and Joab smote Rabbah and destroyed it. All right. Right. So the Lord said, man, and it came to pass after a year time was expired, that at the time that kings go out to battle. And when do kings usually chiefly go out to battle, man? Right, that springtime, right? At that break of the so-called the end of the winter, right? But going into that break of the spring, man. When things start to come back to life, man. Right? Right, the grass is starting to grow, right? Things are getting greener and refreshed, man. Right, life is starting to come back up upon the earth, man. Understand? Right? Although during the teams, it's like it during the time where kings go out to battle, man, right, or beforehand rather, hey, men are training, man. No man just, all right, well, you know what? It's it's just about that time, man. Right? You know, hey, let's just go to war, man. Right? Let's just so called, just run down and just go fight. Hey, randomly, man, and foolishly. Hey, no, there's planning, right? There's strategy, man. Okay, right? There's men that's perfecting the execution thereof, man. Okay, and all these things are also taking place during what the winter time, man. Right? Brothers are going out. You know, it may be some sheep, although brothers may have to prophesy unto the wind, man. Brothers are taking the time to study, man. Okay, right? Brothers are still putting in work and still plowing, man. So that way, as the time when battle is come, right? When the wars start to get heavy during the spring, during the summer, hey, you're more apt, right, to fight, man. Right, you're more apt to teach longer. Right, you're more apt to read longer and to endure, man. Right, you're more apt and you're more privy, right, to discerning and seeing certain spirits thereof, man. Right, and being comfortable in war, right, being comfortable in battle, and you're also hardened. You're also battle tested, man. Because if you can endure the winter, if you can endure the cold, man, hey, the spring is nothing, man. Right? The summer is nothing. But if you abandon the army and you abandon the host, man, understand? Hey, you're liable to abandon right during the heat of battle, man. As certain men, right during the time of Judas Maccabees, man, that slipped the host. It's wicked. Let's go to the book of Proverbs. Let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 27. Right. Right. Proverbs, chapter 27, and at verse number 12. It reads, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished, man. Right, so a prudent man, hey, he's going to foresee the evil, man. Right? Hey, you have a lot of also, proxy wars that are done right during the winter time as well, man. Right, which are like what? Simulations. Right? You're using wisdom. Right? You're having foresight, man. Right? You're not just jumping straight out there, right? Just jumping straight into, in the combat and not knowing what was going on, man. Right? No, you have a lot of simulations, what ifs, understand? A lot of so-called planning, right? Using maps, right? Saying, oh well, if this happens, right, we're gonna make sure that we flank them here, right? But they also have this place as a hot spot, right? Then, hey, we're gonna come in at that angle, right? Boom, we're gonna foul off in the column, right, and hit them on the obliques, right? You got to go into these things, man. Right, during that time that we have now, right? Such as brothers that teach, right? Your work, right? You're doing your works, now. That way, as the heat of the battle increases, right, during the springtime, right, the summer, you have more spirits, right? You have more demons, right? You may even have more sheep that have sincere questions, right? That may come out, right? You're able to answer, right? You're able to field and to handle and to deal with certain things and certain matters, right? Because you're sharpening that sword, right? You get into that as some men may say, sparring sessions early or during this time, huh? All right, let's go to the book of Proverbs. Right, come, what's like? Right, it also said what? That a prudent man foreseeth the evil, huh? Right, so you have to execute prudence, man. Right, you have to execute levels of discernment, man. Let's get that in Proverbs 8. Right, Proverbs chapter 8, and I'm sorry, verse number 11. Right, or I'll say verse number 10, Proverbs 8 and 10. It was receive my instruction, and not silver, and knowledge, rather than choice gold. Right? It reads, for wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty, and find out knowledge of witty inventions, man. Right, so wisdom dwells with prudence, man. Right, having and following sound instruction, man. Right, having keen knowledge and understanding, man. Hey, these things are above silver, right? Are above gold, above rubies, above the so-called carnal things of this world, man. I mean, standing 10 toes down for the name of the Lord, man, and enduring all things is more and mightier, man, than enduring a 12-hour shift, right? You pulled a double double, right? A quadruple triple, man. Right? You work for damn 30 hours straight, man. No breaks. Right? Walking in the ways of the Most High and doing all things, backaches, right? Pains, man. Right? The Lord, He's not a man to forget your labors, man. Or a man to cast off, right? And to just forsake, right? All of the works that you done in righteousness and sincerity thereof, man. Right? Let's go to the book of Second Chronicles. Right, so all kings, man, they move with a sense of prudence, right? A sense of wisdom, right? Knowledge and discernment of carrying themselves. All right, let's get that in the book of Second Chronicles. All right, Second Chronicles, chapter 2, and verse number 11. It reads, then Hiram, the king of Tyre, answered in writing, which he sent to Solomon, because the Lord hath loved his people. He hath made thee king over them. Hiram said, moreover, blessed be the Lord God of Israel, that made heaven and earth, who hath given to David the king a wise son, endued with prudence and understanding, that he might build an house for the Lord and an house for his kingdom, right? And now I have sent a cunning man endued with understanding of Haram, my father's, man. Right, but the Lord said what? Right, through the Spirit, man. He says, endure with prudence and understanding, that he might build an house for the Lord and an house for his kingdom, man. Right, and you can't build a house or build a kingdom, man, being slothful, man. Right, you got so-called mold and things that might Kamarad or aspire, right? Dry rot, understanding, right? You know, if you're not being privy, or if you're not examining, right, the building, right, the architecture, man, right, at all times, man, all hell could break loose, man. All right, you got men that so called they have projects, right, or construction that they may put up, but then they don't finish it, right? Hey, these men that they're not able to build, right? Proceeding to Luke the 14th chapter in the 28th verse on down, man. Hey, we're all charged as being kings and princes and judges and governors, right? Proceeding to the laws and commandments, man. Hey, we're all charged to be warriors, man. To be prudent men, understand? To build, right? To look after the kingdom, to oversee the vineyard, proceeding to Isaiah the 5th chapter, man. Hey, you're charged, man, right? To be a faithful warrior, man. Right? To have loyalty, right? Let's go to the book of Sirach. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 25, and verse, right? So I'm starting at verse number 6. It reads, "Much experience is the crown of old men, and the fear of the Most High is a glory. There be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that have a joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall, it's like the fall of his enemy, man." Right? And you know, just got to bring it out there blunt, man. Hey, a lot of men are not going to be able to see that the fall of the enemy, man. Right? Right? If you're not building, right, putting your hand towards the plow, right, picking up a tool, right, as the men in Nehemiah the 4th chapter, right? If you're not working, if you're not plowing, right, if you're not building, man, hey, those men are not going to be able to slack it, are not going to see that the fall of the enemy, man. Right? You're going to be slain, man, and destroyed. Right? Actually, let me get that real fast. Right? Go to the book of Nehemiah, right, chapter 4, and I'm gonna start at verse number 17. All right, slack. Nehemiah. Come. Right, Nehemiah chapter 4 and verse number 17. It reads, they slack. It reads, they which builded on the wall, and they that bear burdens, with those that laid it, every one with his hands wrought in the work, and the other held a weapon, man. Right, so you had those, man, right, that had their hands, right, wrought in the work thereof, man. Right? Right, meaning what? Right, you have your hand towards the plow, man. Right? A man may have a hammer. Right, man may have a screwdriver, man. Okay. Right, a man may have the things that's necessary for carpentry, masonry, or whatever the case may be, man. Right? And then also in the next hand, right, a hand for war, man. Right, a sword, habergeon, understand? A spear, man. Understand? Right? Our forefathers were warriors, man. A sound men, right? And they had a sound mind, right, to rebuild, right, the tabernacles of old, man. Right? And to rebuild the ruins. Right? How much more us? Right, Council. Let's go back to that. Holy Spirit. Right, the book of Schlock. Sorry, right? Chapter 25 and verse number 8. It reads, well is him that dwelleth with a wife of understanding, and that have not slipped with his tongue, and that have not served a man more unworthy than himself. Well is him that hath found prudence, and he that speaketh in the ears of them Slock that we hear. Oh, how great is he that findeth wisdom, man. Right? Right. So these are commendable acts, man. Right? Men that have loyalty, man. Right? Men that have their houses in order, man. Right? Men that have endurance, man. A mind to work, a mind to build, a mind to plow, a mind to fight, man. Okay? And also a man that have found prudence, man. Right? These are all well spoken attributes, man. Right? Of a good soldier. Let's go to the book of Sirach. Right? Sirach, chapter 34, and verse number 9. Actually, yeah, come. Right? It reads, a man that have traveled knoweth many things, and he that has much experience will declare wisdom. Right? He that have no experience knoweth little, but he that have traveled is full of prudence, man. Right? So a man that's traveled, man. Right? A man that has been in multiple battles, man, different occasions, right? Have understanding of certain talking points and certain doctrines, man, or certain things that men may so called be privy to, man, right? Or think that they have a mastery or knowing or understanding of. You're going to be full of prudence, man. You're going to know how to navigate, right? You're going to know how to operate, right? How to overcome false doctrines, man. Okay. Right, how to win souls, man. Understand? Pull down strongholds. Right, break down the wall of partition, man. Right, tear down that veil of understanding in that old garment, man. Right, and give a new garment proceeding to the Song of Solomon, the 5th chapter, and the 7th verse, man, thereof, man. Hey, but that man that has no knowledge, that has no experience, man. Hey, you're going to be overthrown. Right? Again, no man just puts a man, right? You have no training, right? You never experienced combat before, and just throw him out there, man. That man is going to get jammed up, overthrown, man. Right? But if you're constantly, right, in the words of the Lord, man, right, you're building yourselves up, right? Endurance, having tolerance, right? Growing in faith, right? Growing in experience and knowledge, man, thereof, man. Hey, those men, they are going to be full of prudence, man. Full of wisdom, man. Right, not wavered and shaken to and fro. Let's go to the book of 2 Timothy. Right, slug. Probably a few more wind down. Let's go to the book of 2 Timothy. Chapter 2. Come. 2 Timothy, chapter 2. And, well, this whole thing is fire. All right. 2 Timothy, chapter 2. And I'm going to just start at 1. For it reads, thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Hamashiach Yahushua, and the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men who shall be able to teach others also, man. Right? Right, so through the hand of Paul, right, from the inspiration and guidance, right, and authority of the Most High God, by Shem Yahushua, right, the Lord said what? Therefore, my son, to be strong, man. Right, soldiers had to be strong, man. Right? As not only strong physically, but also strong will, strong minded, man. Understand? It's one thing to have so called, brolic muscles, right? To have a stature, of renown or fear or countenance, man. But there's also another, man, right? To have a strong will, right? That's where they get the so-called right, the so-called saying, right? It's not about the size of the dog, right? But it's not about the size of the dog in a fight, but the size of the fight that's within the dog thereof, man. Right? Reading on. It reads, "Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahweh Shah Hamashiach. No man that in warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who have chosen him to be a soldier." Huh? Right? And the Lord, he told you, man, to endure hardness, man, as a good soldier, not a wicked soldier, not an evil soldier, not a lukewarm soldier, not a part-time soldier, but as a good soldier, man. Right? Saying that no man that warreth entangle himself with the affairs of this life, man. Right? Meaning that who gives a damn how you feel, man? Who gives a damn if you work 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, man? Go to camp. Do the work. A labor, man. Who cares if you damn stubbed your toe, man? Right? Who cares if it's damn 5 degrees outside? 102, man. Hey, endure that hardness, man. Endure the elements, man. Let's go to the book of Philemon. Right, it's actually Slocky. It reads that no man warreth and Slocky entangle himself with the affairs of his life, that he may please him who have chosen him to be a soldier. Right, so it's not about you, how you feel, your wants and your needs, right? But it's about how you can please the Most High, right? Because He chose you, right, to enlist you into this army, man. Right, and who are we to deny the blood, right, of our Savior, right, our Lord and our King, man, who died for us? Let's go to the book of Philemon. All right, the book of Philemon, chapter 1 and verse number 1. It reads, "Paul, a prisoner of Yahweh Shah Hamashiach, and Timothy our brother, unto Philemon, our dearly beloved and fellow laborer, and to our beloved, right, Epiphae, and Agrippus, our fellow soldier, and to the church in thy house," man. Right, so Paul, he saluted certain men, man. Right, for their mighty works, right, their deeds, right, or for being a brother, man, representing to Romans the 16th chapter, for being a helper in the church, right, for being a fellow prisoner with them, man, right, being in bonds with them, locked up, man, right, for being a true servant of the Most High. But the Lord said that what? Our beloved Epiphae and Agrippus, a fellow soldier, man. How much more being a fellow soldier, man? How much more being a fellow warrior, right? A fellow battle, right? When things come up, man, right? When things, SHIT, it's the so-called fine, man, right? When you may need someone for counsel, right? For exhortation, discernment, right? Things of that nature, etc., man. Right, to be able to know that, hey, I can call on that one brother, man. That that man right there, hey, he's faithful. That when it's time for war, for battle, or for anything to go down, huh? Hey, that person right there, he's gonna hold it down. He's gonna have my back, right, and so forth and so on, man. Let's go to the book of Philippians, right? And even certain men, nigh unto their what? Unto their death. Right, let's go to the book of Philippians, chapter 2, and verse number 25. It reads, "Yet I suppose it necessary to send to you Epaphroditus, my brother and companion in labor and fellow soldier, but your messenger and he that ministered to my wants, man. Bro, so Paul said that this man, that he was what? He was a brother. He was a companion, man. Right, a close friend, man. Right? And he was a fellow soldier, man. And that he what? That he was a messenger and he that ministered to my wants, man. Right? If being a fellow soldier, man, you also have to go out and minister, man. Right? And again, it's not on your own time. Right? It's not when you feel comfortable, man. Right? It's in all seasons, man. Right? It's when you're so called tired, man. Right? It's when, man, you had a so called long week, long day. I understand, man. Right? It's when this, man, a damn blizzard outside, a hurricane, tornadoes, man. Right? Tsunamis, man. Hey, brothers, man, shook the hand in the midst of a damn hurricane, man, through the spirit. Hey, the Lord, He charges you, man, right, to do the work, man, and to be faithful, right, and to not waver and to not give in to your own carnal desires, man, and flesh, man, and things that you may seem as though it's comfortable, man, right? That you may what? That you may receive a just reward, man, for your services thereof. I mean, you can't go into it enough, but eternal life is not a small matter. Having dominion over 10 cities is not a small matter, man. Right? And brothers, they may read over these precepts often. I want to have 7 cities, 10 cities, 100 cities, man. I mean that the Lord isn't just going to give that to you because you got a beard on and fringes. No, there's trials, there's tribulations, there's adversity, right? There's much there's much labor that has to be wrought, right, for you to earn that thing, man. Not for it to be given. Let's go to the book of First Maccabees. All right. First Maccabees. All right. First Maccabees, chapter 10. And I'm starting at verse number 10. It reads, This done, Jonathan settled himself in Jerusalem and began to build and repair the city. Huh? Right, again, constantly going into building, constantly going into repairing. Huh? Right, constantly having that warrior mind like set. Huh? Right, to protect, defend the people. Right, serve the Most High, man, and to rebuild the ruins of old. Verse number 11, it reads, And he commanded the workmen to build the walls and the Mount Zion round about with square stones for for fortification, and they did so. Then the strangers that were in the fortresses at Bacchides had built and fled away, insomuch as every man left his place and went into his own country. Only at Bethsur, certain of those that had forsaken the law and the commandments remained still, for it was their place of refuge. Now when King Alexander had heard what promises Demetrius had sent unto Jonathan, when it was also told of him the battles and noble acts which he and his brethren had done, and of the pains that they had endured, he said, Shall we find such another man? Now therefore we will make them our friend and confederate, man. All right? Right, so this man said, right, through him, right, and during pains, man, said, Shall we find such another man? Hey, and that's what you want the angels and the Lord to say about you, man. Shall we find such another man, that can do what this brother does, man? right? That can do what this system may do, right? May traveling, right? May have things that's set up for it that the men of the Lord, man, right? Garments, sweaters, man, scarves, hats, man, right? Making sure that, having gloves, man, right? Making sure that the work is able to further and prosper, man. Shall we find such a man, right, that's going to stand 10 toes down, right? No matter what the weather is, no matter what the element is, and hold it down in the name of the Most High God, man. I mean, shall we find such another man, right? That's going to be diligent, man, and prudent, man. And that's a wise thing, man, right? And a beautiful thing, right? That you will want the Lord, man, to have about you, right? And also a name that you will want to have, man, right? Amongst the nation as well through the Spirit. Let's go to the book of Second Maccabees, right? Right, because Eleazar was bold, man, the priest, and held it down. All right, let's go to the book of Second Maccabees, chapter 6, and I'm gonna get straight to it. All right, we're gonna read verse 28 on down. It reads, "And leave a notable example to such as be young to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws." And when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment. Right? Russell Eleazar set a notable example, man, of what? Of being courageous and being willing, man. It shouldn't take brothers to get on you, man, right? To rebuke you, right? For you to come out, right? It shouldn't take someone to have to, as brothers say, light a fire under you, man, right? To make you want to, to serve the Most High, man, in all things, man, right? Right, or to, damn, put you in a headlock, man, and drag you out, man. Put a coat on you, right? Put a hoodie on you, man. Scarf, wrap you up, man. Put you in damn plastic wrap, right? So you don't go anywhere and force you, man, to be a soldier, man, in the army. All right. It reads, willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. And when he said those words, immediately he went to the torment. They that led him, changing the good will, they bear him a little before into hatred, because the aforesaid speeches proceeded, as they thought, from a desperate mind. But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, "It is manifest unto the Lord that the holy knowledge that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in the body by being beaten, but in soul I am well content to suffer these things because I fear him." Right? Amen. And that's beautiful, man. Because brothers, man, they endure things, man. Right? Again, it says, "From death I now endure sore pains in body, man." Right? Brothers have broken ankles, man. Right? Herniated disc and backs. Right? Broken bones, man. Injuries. You know that aren't professed or brought on camera, man. But still endure, man. Right? Arthritis, man. Pains, man. Cramps. Understand? You know, Internal injuries, man. Right? They have had cancer, man. Surgeries, and still come out faithfully week in and week out. Cold, ice cold outside, blazing heat, man. Right? Sleet, rain, and endured as soldiers, man. Endured those pains in the body for what? Because in soul am well content to suffer those things. Because they fear the Most High God, man. And that's an extremely beautiful spirit, man, to have, man. Right? Extremely powerful, man. Because all these things, man, we owe it unto the Lord. Let's go to the book of First Ezra. First Ezra, chapter 4, and verse number 6. It reads, likewise for those that are no soldiers and have not to do with laws, but use husbandry, when they have reaped again that which they had sown, they bring it to the king and compel one another to pay tribute, to pay tribute unto the king. Huh? Right. So whether you're a soldier, you physically are going out in the battle, right? Whether you are a helper, right? That you may be an aid towards the body, right? It reads, it's like the Lord said, but use husbandry, huh? Right? Because the Lord, He requires, man, and a reaping, man, right, of the increase of the harvest. It reads, use husbandry when they have reaped again that which they had sown, they bring it to the king, man. Right? And we all have portions, right? A set amount of portions, man, that were set to bring unto our King Yahushua. Right, let's get that in the book of Song of Solomon. Let's go to the book of Song of Solomon. Classic. Song of Solomon, chapter 8, and verse number 11. Right, Solomon had a vineyard at Baal Hamon. He let out the vineyard unto keepers. Every one for the fruit thereof was to bring 1,000 pieces of silver. Man. Right, and we're all charged to go into the vineyard, man. Right, as a servants of the Lord. Right, as the keepers, watching over the fruit thereof, man. Right, bringing forth an increase thereof, man, with the talents and things that the Lord has given us. Right, verse number 12, it reads, my vineyard which is mine is before me. Thou, O Solomon, must have 1,000, and those that keep the fruit thereof 200, man. Right, so the Lord, He charges you, man, right, to bring forth 1,000. Right, from all the talents that the Lord has given you, man. Right, bringing forth, right, all the usury. Right, again, proceeding to Luke the 19th chapter. Right, that you have built upon those talents or those pounds that the Most High is giving you, man, through the Spirit. Right, you bring all that forth before the Lord, man, and you receive 200. Right, meaning what? You receive your just reward. You receive the fruits of your labor thereof, man. Right, you receive the riches of the kingdom. Right, all slocking. Right, all of these things, man. Right, go back then to, right, serving the Most High, serving the King, man, which is your reasonable duty and service. Right, I'm getting about slocking. One more, right, real fast. Let's go to the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 13. All right. 2 Maccabees 13 and verse number 13. And Judas being apart with the elders determined before the king's host should enter into Judea and get the city to go forth and try the matter and fight by the help of the Lord. So when he had committed all to the Creator of the world and exhorted his soldiers to fight manfully even unto death for the laws, the temple, the city, the country, and the commonwealth, he encamped Modin, and having given the watchword to them that were about him, victory is of the Most High. With the most valiant and choice young men, he went into the king's tent by night and slew in the camp about 4,000 men, and the chiefest of the elephants, with all that were upon him. Come, right, sluggy, right. But that the Lord said, right through the Spirit, that he exhorted his soldiers to fight manfully, even unto death, man. Right? So a soldier, man, their mind is going to be set upon the Most High, right? To endure all things, man. Right? To make sure that they're bringing provisions and bringing all things that's set right for the king thereof, man. And endure all things in a fight and to keep the charge, man, unto death, man, through the Spirit. Right? Because again, it doesn't just depend on one man, right? It depends on really the entire nation, man. Right? That's the classic Jude 8, right? Judah to the 8 and verse. Slocky. Judah 8 and verse number 24. Right? Actually, Slocky. I'm sorry, at verse 23. Reads, for our servitude shall not be directed to favor, but the Lord our God shall turn into dishonor. Now therefore, O brethren, let us shew an example to our brethren, because their hearts depend upon us, and the sanctuary, and the house, and the altar rest upon us. Moreover, let us give thanks to the Lord our God, which trieth us, even as he did our fathers, man. Right, so being called into this truth, right, as being a soldier, man. Right, especially, man, going out during the wintertime, man. Right, during the cold. Understand that the temple, man, rests upon us, man. The altar, right? Right, the house thereof, man. Right? Hey, our households, our women, our children, man. Our livelihoods, man. It all depends on us, man. Right? So the next time you feel slothful, the next time you feel lazy, the next time you think about or don't feel like it going out, man. Hey, just remember all the things, man, that rest upon us, man. Right? And how important and how deep this truth is, and the calling of being a soldier. Constant with that, brother Tazwan Gabar, coming back to his precepts and yet another code cut. And of course, all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shema Shak. While I'm like Shai, I brought you out this lesson was extremely edifying through the Spirit. And with that, I want to say, Shalom, Kwame Yashat.